I had a very strict dad with a very quick temper. So we had to work. And if we didn't get the work done, you would get penalized for it. And it wasn't sitting in the corner. If you sat in the corner, it was because you had a sore behind. I can remember one incident. He wanted me to mow the grass, and apparently I didn't get to mow it right. And when he came home, it was nighttime. He got me out of bed, and I had to go and mow some grass just to satisfy him, I guess. But I think back then, parents, well, they were brought up strict. So therefore, they parented just like their parents did. And actually, to my fault, that's how I started to parent too, with a quick temper. Had I maintained that, we would have really had a rough marriage. But my parents, I think they loved me, and that was their way of showing that they loved you. They were busy working all the time. I think it's hard for your generation to understand how it was financially back then, but it was rough. We didn't go away. I can't remember my parents vacationing at all. No. I think the one thing that it taught me, I was telling Mom the other day, the good thing that my dad taught me was to have a good work ethic. The bad thing was the temper. And it just wasn't good in the beginning of our marriage. No, buddy. And you know, that's...
What about your childhood?
Say, well, I ran away from home. And here I is. Yeah.
What was my childhood like? I had a good childhood. I was born in Allentown in an apartment, had a midwife delivered me. We moved out to past Limeport when I was a baby. We moved into this old farmhouse. There was, I think, one electric light in it, no running water, and they had to put in water from a spring, and we just had that into the kitchen. And then we lived there till I was 10 years old. Well, my father was getting epileptic seizures, so he had to drive the car to work because my mother couldn't drive. And so one Sunday when we were coming home from church, which was in Allentown, he had a seizure and went off the road into the guardrail. And so my mother says, I think we're going to have to move to Allentown, sell the car, and move to Allentown. That way we can walk wherever we have to go or use public transportation. So that's what we did. And I was not happy when we moved to Allentown. I did not like Allentown. I hated it, even though I could walk just barely across the street to the school. But I think the main reason I hated moving there was because I didn't have any friends, and I was bashful. I was very shy when I was young. But one good thing was we had a bathroom in the house in Allentown, which I really enjoyed that because we had an outhouse in the old house, and so it had a wooden seat and it stank.
Yeah.
And so that's where you went to the bathroom. And so we but then I walked to school, and then we had, when I was in, fifth and sixth grade the school was real close to our house. But then seventh and eighth and ninth was a little further away, and then 10th and 11th and 12th grade was still further away. It was like a mile we had to walk to school. But actually, the walking was good exercise. And so then after I graduated from high school, we got married. I graduated in June, and in September we got married. So
Yeah, we had, when I was young, my parents had, the first house I remember living in was a one-room schoolhouse up on what they call South Mountain. And then they moved from there. My dad made it into a living quarters. From there we moved to Allentown across from Jefferson School on Hall Street. Didn't live there too long. Then we moved, excuse me, out to, I think, the first farm, which is about a mile and a half away from here, which was a small two-bedroom farm home that also had the outhouse. And an outhouse is a hole in the ground. And then my parents used to throw lime in it once in a while to cut down on the stink and the decaying of the matter.
oh, maybe that's what they did for us. I
Yeah,
don't know.
probably.
I
And
never saw them
We
do
had
it.
a two-seater. My dad made a two-seater. I have no idea why. But it was really just a small house, and then from there they moved out to another place, the rent, and then from there they moved to Allentown, which was a blessing because that's at that point is when I met Gladys.